Were you ever told that you play too much? As a child, when an adult caught you playing, did they ever make you feel like you were wasting time, doing something useless? Maybe it was time to get back to work? Well, recent research has begun to show that play is an integral part of childhood, and it is an important part of a child's psychological, emotional, and physical development. I'm Chloe Ritchie. I'm a child care professional of 5 years, and I'll be walking you through the 6 steps of play, a theory developed in 1932 by Mildred Parton, an American sociologist. The 6 steps of play, as written by Mildred Parton, begin with the step unoccupied. Unoccupied play is sort of wandering, sort of aimless. If you observe a child between the age of 1 year to maybe 15 months, you'll see that the way they play is just kind of walking around, exploring their environment, picking something up, carrying it around, but they don't move with intent. They don't work to achieve a goal or purpose with the items that they pick up. The next stage is called solitary. Now this is intentional play. It's a child picking up an object and trying to make object A fit into object B, intentionally moving from point 1 to point 2, stacking things. They're playing with focus. They have a purpose for what they're doing. They don't acknowledge other people in the room, and they aren't interested in playing with those people. Now, if you take solitary play and you build on it, the next step that you'll find is onlooker play. Now, onlooker play happens all in the child's head. This is when they begin to become aware of other people around them and what they're doing. They'll begin to observe other players. They tend to sit and watch them. Again, they're not interested in interacting with the other players, but they will begin to start to look at them and observe how they are playing. The next step after onlooker is called parallel. Parallel play is utilizing observation and then imitating what they've observed in very close proximity to the other players. So they still do not want to interact with other players in the room. However, they are going to imitate what the other players are doing, and they're going to play very closely, so they're almost mirroring each other. After parallel play comes associative play. Now this is when other players finally begin to interact. They may begin to exchange ideas, they may begin to exchange items, they may begin to chase each other, follow each other. They play disorganized. They play with no coordination, but they are playing together. The 6th and final step is cooperative play. Now, cooperative play is what we think of when we hear the word playing with others. It's organized, it's with intent, it's with purpose, it's involving everyone in the game. This is any game that's governed by rules and regulations, which varies from fantasy games to something like tag or something like Chutes and Ladders. So it's every player agreeing to cooperate with each other and comply by these rules and regulations. Now I'm going to repeat the steps one more time, just their titles, so that you're able to remember them. Unoccupied, solitary, onlooker, parallel, associative, and cooperative. Now, a combination of factors prompt development along these stages. Age does have to do a great deal with it. So as children progress from a year to 5 years old, they will most probably go through these stages. But recent studies indicate that different factors such as socioeconomic status, education, and exposure to concepts may accelerate their advancement. A study observed the difference between a high SES and a low SES group of preschoolers and found that the high SES preschoolers tend to be higher on these stages of development. Possibly that's because of exposure to higher levels of education, which is not just the school that they have experienced so far, but is also affected by the factor of the schooling of their parents. They also noted that females and males tend to play differently. They tend to have different play strengths. So a male may be more likely to play in parallel dramatic play types, while a female is more likely to engage in a parallel constructive play type. That basically means that male children are more likely to it's difficult to describe. Male children are more likely to engage in play that involves creating a drama, creating an explosion or a dramatic scene, and girls are more likely to have play where they are trying to construct something. So they may be building a house or a tower, and they're trying to bring order to what they're playing. Finally, some studies indicate that once a child has mastered a stage, they may be able to regress to that stage. So you'll never find a child, like a 1-year-old child, who can engage in cooperative play. That kind of jump developmentally is not possible. However, once a child has mastered a stage, they can kind of keep it in their knapsack and remember it as a way to interact with people. So when a child's introduced to a new situation, they may decide to regress to onlooker play and just observe and kind of take in how other people in the room are playing before they begin to progress up to maybe parallel play, maybe jump right into cooperative play. But they have those stages and they are able to regress to them if they ever need to. The final question I'd like to pose to my audience is, why is this research valuable? Why is it worth putting time into studying how children play? Well, my first and most important point is that it's a way for teachers, caretakers, and parents to screen children to make sure that they're developing appropriately. There are several conditions that improper social development can be indicators of. I would caution my viewers to not take just these 6 steps as the thing that determines whether or not you think a child is developing incorrectly. Definitely cross-reference them with other red flags or other markers. But there are some conditions that you can filter because of this. Depression, bipolar disorder, autism, and also improper social interaction can be an indicator of neglect and abuse. So I would encourage all teachers, parents, and caretakers to be acquainted with these stages and to find ways to offer developmentally appropriate play experiences for their children, as well as use them to monitor their kids and make sure that they are receiving the type of interaction that they need to be receiving at their age. Thank you for listening.